everybody. Here we are with another conversation of the artist from the Faenza Prize selection. Today we have the pleasure to have this conversation with Judith Schwartz, and we already presented her, but she is a great professor at the University of New York, and she is a very important person in the ceramic world. But before starting, I would like to ask her to introduce us her important project called Ceramic Destination, a project that was created 3 years ago and that it is going to start in the coming weeks. So Judith.
Thank you, Claudia. Wonderful to be back and to have this opportunity to work with artists again. I'm delighted to announce that next Tuesday at 10 o'clock New York time, a project that I've been working 3 years on called Ceramic World Destinations will be launched. It's a website that lists galleries, museums, design shops, residencies throughout the world. And you're going to be able to open, like on a Google map, look at the world, go to a city that you would like to visit, get closer and closer to the city, to the country, then the city, then the town, and then the street, and you will find a ceramic destination. When you click on it, you'll get to a URL, which will bring you directly to that listing, which will give you the address and the hours and everything. And it's very exciting. It's going to live on the website of the International Academy of Ceramics. So I invite all of you to not only visit new sites, particularly in this pandemic, how exciting it is to visit places that we can't physically go to now, but we can plan for the future.
So compliments for this beautiful idea of connecting people. It is very important in this very moment. So many compliments. We will go on this and we will see your work. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
So now the stage is for the Faenza Prize talk.
Well, the Faenza Prize was another wonderful awakening to new artists, and today's selection is an extraordinary group of artists who explore clay in very unique, imaginative ways. I'm delighted to introduce the 5 speakers, but we're going to start right away because we only have a short hour together. So I'll see you all others later, but we're going to start with Sofia. Welcome, Sofia Beça from Portugal. Sofia's English is not wonderful, but to me, she speaks perfectly. But I just do want to say a few things about her to introduce her. She is living in a country that is rich with murals, and of course, you all know that wonderful long history. But she makes ceramic murals, and what is so wonderful about it is that she works in stoneware and brings up the quality, the surface quality of the stoneware in the different colors that she imagines. What I really love about the work, and it's hard to believe, is that she works in a very small apartment. She has no studio at all, but she's able to work in little bits and pieces of the ceramic mural parts. And then she packs up all the work and carries it to 250 kilometers away to a wood-fired kiln where her work is then fired. And she puts together some extraordinary murals and surface treatments. And so, Sofia, let's get into the work now, and we can ask you questions as you go. Welcome.
Thank you.
Stefania, let's start with the first image.
Yeah, okay. So this work is a tribute to my master, Arcadio Blasco, who died when I was finished this work. and it is a private house with 3 floors, and was designed with the intention to the stair in front of the mural, and it's very, very big. So with my conditions, so I need I found a solution, easy way for me. Include I make this work with only three months. So my idea is playing with the volumetries and the colors of the clay, and play with the stair include. So it's more or less this.
Next slide.
You are my flower. This work was done when I stay in Gmunden, Austria, in the symposium, where was a space and conditions to execute work this size, very delicate and very, very heavy, and means like we absorb all sensations with us like a sponge. And the same with the love. So it's like the flower, petal by petal, like love, is delicate but robust. So this work is more or less this metaphoric. And with this work, I received a first prize in Alcora in Spain 4 years ago, I think. I don't know.
Next.
Well, wondering, the mural with the reference to the tile, of course, but modeling to changing the initial idea of flat and painting tiles. So modeling is order to give the topographic effect to the path that I take every time I walk on the mountain or my bicycle. This tours is fundamental for my creative process. If I don't make this kind of things, it's difficult for me working. So with this pandemic, it's great. Using only stoneware with different colors and fire make the final result.
Next.
This work, it was the first work I did using aluminium as a support, and it is small pieces with different colors that were all glued one by one in the aluminium, in which their sequence creatives tectonic panoramic with movement and with the different colors. As if it were like a painting where the ceramic are the brush. So the idea is more or less this.
Next.
This mural I make in China, in Jingdezhen, and a serial things we buy say made in China. So I play it with this as was the work I make in China. So I put the name the Jingdezhen, so made in Jingdezhen. And I did a mixture of Portugal and China, tiles with the volumetries, and painting with prints they use to painting the porcelain, and it's a banal prints and banal designs, and I cut and transform like abstract, and then the light make the result with the volumetries, and if you change the light, you change the work.
Here's a good example of when you go to a different country, a geographic change, how the work can change. But then let's go to the next slide and we can see how you go back now to the exploration of the little details in the stoneware.
Okay. The ripples is the work condensed from the outside to inside, swelling in ripples. Oscillations and pressure that are compressed in the middle, a kind of measurement of forces to see with gives up the purpose, made in a white stoneware and firing. Here is the fire helps to finish the work and what I intend.
Next.
So a minimal piece that illustrated what we feel in the skin. I make this work in the beginning of the pandemic last year, and after all, even with the pandemic, we are not all in the same boat. And for example, in Portugal, the culture was the first to close its doors, so leaving artists to abandon themselves. And after 1 year, the situation remains. So we try survive alone in our boat, but it's not easy.
But you work at home, and so you're quite used to it. I mean, it's quite appropriate.
Yeah, I work in home, but my kiln is not in home.
Right.
So, and for working, I need to make my tours with my bike, and I need the mountains. And with the pandemic, I can't. So my studio is there. I work there. So, but it's very, very small, and I need the space, and I need to see things. I need the feeling, the people, the Portuguese. We need the touch. We need the arms. So the hugs. So I don't have this kind of things. So I feeling my works started to not so strong. It's more.
We all need those landscapes and our surroundings
Yeah.
to inform us.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next work too.
Yeah. So, and the another work with the same problem. When basic pleasures are taken from me, walking the paths or with the camera in my hand, I lose a little of the meaning of life. But fortunately, I take some refuse my memories to move on. So this made me miss making memories of mountains. I imagine that I was walking around them.
And are we getting to the Faenza Prize work?
No. Okay. What's happened? Disappear.
All right. Let's move on. There we go.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, this is the selected work based on tiles and topographic and my roads. So within pets, it's a metaphoric of what my pets are, both those that I walk as a professional or in personal relationships. The title Carabochos, it's a dialect of the north interior. There are where I have my kiln, and a lot of times I use expressions that this kind of dialect because of falling into disuse. So I try keep this dialect and use for the titles for my work.
It's a very poetic title and a very poetic visual as well. It was striking when I saw it, and I think you are carrying on certainly a Portuguese tradition of beautiful mural work. And it's extraordinary that you work in these little tiny bits that are put together in this whole that you then put together finally by taking it to the kiln site and then putting it together. It's extraordinary work. Thank you so much, Sofia. We really appreciate, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, our next artist is a woman, Antonella Cimatti. Welcome. It's so nice to see you again. I know you from the International Academy of Ceramics for many years, but you have been experimenting in ways that are so refreshing. And it's a new chapter in your life. And I would love for you to explore your ideas with our audience. Just extraordinary, because you're approaching shadow and light in ways that we never look at an object before in this way. So welcome, Antonella. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Claudia Casali, to give me the opportunity to introduce my work. I was born in Faenza, and I studied in Faenza and in Bologna, and I was teaching for many years in Faenza, and now I am working and still living in Faenza. So Faenza is my city. History, fashion, and design are part of my Italian heritage, but my interest also lie in light and lightness. So the idea is to bring a ceramic, which is a normally heavy material, towards an image of lightness. To do this, I also use light. For example, this is an installation of 3 meter high, where I use porcelain elements, but also fiber optic technology to have the idea of the lightness. Next, please. So you can see how the optical fibers are woven with the porcelain, helping to lift the ceramic. Next, please. A detail, and so also here you can see how interwoven between ceramic and optical fiber. Next, please. The same installation at Venice Biennale in 2011. The installation changing color. I have 5 different colors in the light. Next, please. So, studying the light, I discovered that the light creates a shadow, and the work can be touched. The shadow can be seen but not touched, as it is intangible. So it's a mysterious and profound concept for me. It's fascinated me, this concept. Next, please. So I started to use porcelain and always own shadow. In this case, we have this installation is 2 meters of the diameter in the background, and there are also pieces of porcelain. Next, please. In this work, I focused better my idea of shadow. In this case, we have a butterfly flight, but one wing of the butterfly is real, and the other one is only virtual because it's made by own shadow. So in this case, I was able to create a minimal work using minimal ceramic, and through the direction of the lightness. Next, please. The same installation, but different point of view, and using also colors. So to have an idea of a flight. And next, please. In this case, we have a virtual room where I put more butterflies and also 2 fans to create a movement of the wing of the butterfly, and so you have an idea of the flight and the lightness of the installation. Next, please. In 2013, I started with the Ghost Still Life series. I wanted to use everyday common object we can find around us, especially stereotype of ceramic like a teapot or cup. So especially when you sing porcelain, you sing the a teapot or the cups. And the part of work is real and is made of thin, translucent laser cut out of sintered alumina. It's a kind of advanced ceramic material. And the silhouette are laser cut. And when the light under is switched on, you have the optical illusion of the real shape of real shape. Next, please. You can see a detail. Next, please. A lamp that, when switched on, instead of lighting up, produced its own shadow, creating awe and wonder. So it's a way to involve also the audience, the people. It's nice to see when the people is going closer to the work, to understand better, to understand how it's work, and to take some picture to be involved. That's important for me. Next, please. This is an installation in Rome where you can see on the left butterflies, and on the right the one of my ghost still life. This was in Galleria Nazionale d'Arte Moderna. Next, please. Ghost Still Life 2015 changed a little bit in comparison with the first solution, because I use everyday object around us, but also other objects that represent culture, myth, and historical memory, as a portal vase, which is an icon of perfection. Next, please. So I am moving with, from last work, I am moving with this direction, which is a kind of virtual museum, because I have always been fascinated by shadow and the history of ceramics. So I began studying how I could combine these two antiques ideas. And till now, today, I am going to exploring this concept. It's again a still life, but with the everyday objects that were produced in the city of Faenza between 15th and 16th century, but now are separated and housed in major museums around the world, such as the Metropolitan Museum or Victoria and Albert, British, or still in Faenza, International Museum in Faenza. Fortunately, we have some still, and creating a sort of virtual tour of this museum collection now together again. Next, please. This installation is now at the Taiwan Ceramic Biennale 2020, and I won a jury prize. We have pieces from Victoria and Albert or Giulia Bella, still in Faenza. Pincher is at British Museum, and also Calamaio. Calamaio Giudicio di Paride is a sculpture group, very nice, still in Faenza, and other pieces around the world. Next, please. So that virtual museum introduced this work, Virtual Museum number 4, presented at 61st Faenza Prize 2020. So again, we have the same concept, pieces made in Faenza, and still some still in Faenza, other in other part of the world, and the same silhouette, very, very thin in advanced ceramic material, and that projecting own shadow. Next, please. To do this, I personally went to this museum, and I studied these pieces either in their showcase or through records of archive. So was very complex work. Next, please. I started from those information, many pictures, and then through a complex process by computer, I created a deformed silhouette, which projecting each image, returned them to full scale. That is important because the shadow are in full scale, cioè the same size of real pieces. Next, please. So you can see that I did the same with the 2 pieces still in Faenza, portauovo and cestino, and I was easier because I went to the museum, I studied directly from the showcase, and then by computer I studied the silhouette. And next, please. This is a complex work completed by computer 3D program. I used the 3D program, and you can see on the right bottom how the silhouettes are very deformed and stretched, but when you switch on the light, next please, you have this image.
Wonderful, Antonella. You know, you're using new technology with wonderful concepts like iconic forms from various museums, forcing us to relive, well, making us see the objects and reassociating them to the museums that they're located in. And yet you're not dealing with the object itself, but its reflection. So there are so many different aspects to your work. It's just extraordinary. Thank you so much, Antonella. Really,
thank you, Judith.
Your input. It's very interesting, getting away from the object, yet reflecting on the object, and yet creating a new way of looking at the object. So just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next artist is another experimenter, a great experimenter as well with new technologies, Nicola Boccini. Welcome. We are delighted to have you. I met you once before in the Blanc de Chine show when I juried that in China, but we met where in
Nice.
In Nice, right? That's
Nice.
right.
Yeah.
Welcome. So let's get into your work, because you also have extraordinary ways of exploring new technology. And I really want the public to see the extent to which you go in your explorations.
Yes, we have to start from the first, because this is the other picture. So we have to go up to the Last Judgment. Okay, more. Just a second. Let me say now, welcome to everybody, to my students, friends, and other. Are you ready? I think so. I divide my presentation in 3 parts. The Last Judgment, a new research that I made in 2020, and then the work that the Faenza Museum has selected for the 61st prize. So the Last Judgment was a very important project for me, because after being selected for an innovating project of art, I think the first judgment in ceramics, immediately I created a presentation, a professional team. In this group, there are a master of animation, mapping, engineers, dancer, manager, etc. Let me say, for this moment, thank you, because every time I remind the work together from Robert Turro, Raffaele Bacchi, Mark Kuczynski, Michel Garnowski. So you can see every people that is gave a contribute to me to realize the Last Judgment in the left. So. Next slide. Now, I would like to focus more attention on the technical and innovative part of ceramic panel, for give you a chance to understand the step of creation. And then, if you want to see the video of this kind of step, you just connect to YouTube on my website, because there is a lot of video about the step for creation, the Last Judgment. So you see this 4 picture, and this is the first case of different secrets. I used slip casting on professional mold. I prepared myself plaster, mold, and a slip clay. In this case, bone china. So I just put this clay for 5 minutes. for have a very thin porcelain, and then for a few days for drying it, and then firing. But next. In the left, you can see the installation project that is divided in 3 parts. In the central composition, you can see aligned symbols, and this is I found in the Hans Memling Last Judgment, where I'm inspired. This line I made with my personal techniques called porcelain vein. And this I discovered on 2008 on a KVC. So Ranti is director of the KVC in the Netherlands, and maybe is he hearing me can be happy because 3 of my 7 new discovery techniques I am found on the KVC. I made an old panel, so in the KVC, and when I spoke with Pierluigi and Peter, the 2 teachers inside, 2 great teachers, I had a theory about overfiring panel. Now, with the support of this instruction, I am firing very high. So in one moment, I have been also overfiring. And so now my theory has become feasible, practicable. For example, do you know what I did? When you're firing a normal pot and you go so high, normally during the firing, the pieces is a shrink, okay? But I used the panel and I went over firing. And when you went over firing, after shrink, you have also the expand. And so my hexagonal panel, now it's more resistant. It's very thin. You can see the inch or centimeter on the picture, about 2 millimeters. And then I had a special and fantastic translucence. So this translucence is giving me the possibility to use porcelain like a screen. And now I want to show the video spot just for show how it's the image or my conception of Last Judgment is move on this panel. Video, please.
That if they were in the gallery, in the museum, experiencing the work for the final that was chosen, that they're experiencing their own bodies in relation to the work, sound and light. That's correct, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Could we get to that? Could we get to that that last work, and we see
Yes, and now I want just to show, because now you can see on the left of the picture my porcelain vein. Is a senior line that is highlighted with the light. So if you go to the next, I showed you the panel concept, because so this is a very short introduction of Last Judgment, but this panel is a concept between quantum science and a different religion. So I have had a meeting with the quantum scientist and a cloister monk. For a few days, we are speak about the religion the Last Judges. So forever an idea and concept of a new Last Judgment. I want to show you also the next, because this is just a picture, but you have to imagine that this Last Judgment is a create for a little spot of light, and then is open to the screen, because we have used a video projector that is in the back, and just project directly the image that is moved directly on this panel, and never hand, because there is an algorithmic specific for to see how this move in the space.
Right.
And also there is a little camera in front that can catch you interact, because when you move or you just speak, or the panel listen the sound, the image have like a glitch, have a deformation, have other things. And next, please. And you can see this panel is just put in front of the Last Judgment of Hans Memling. So in the 1467 is realized the Last Judgment, and this one is so great because you can see the oil on wood painting and the ceramic. So we have 550 here of arts, evolution of arts. Next. Now we are, because I promised to you to just show my new techniques, because every year or every 2 years I like to research in ceramica and share my research. So this technique is called CCC, Climate Change Ceramic, and the inspiration and the idea came during the news about Greta Thunberg. So I was captured by her, and then day by day, month by month, the techniques is born. So
Nicola, we have to move on. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah, please, next, please,
because
next.
I want to get into the interdisciplinary aspect.
Yeah. So this is for example, it's very easy, because I just used the water, distilled water and pigments put together and freezer. And then when the ice is ready, I just put the different pigments inside of or on the top, sorry, of the ceramic tile, and then I just wait that is a unfreeze, and then I firing. Next, please. And this you can see the ring of water that is freezer. So you don't think that this is fruit jellies. It's a kind of colored ice with pigments. So you can see the video, because when you're firing this, you have a special color that is more beautiful when there is the light behind. So we see the video. Next.
Wonderful.
Yeah, these techniques, Judith, drive me crazy to find the color and mix everything. But yeah, now,
Nicola, we're running out of time. You know, it's wonderful that you have so much of this on YouTube and explanations. There was a question about the temperature that you're firing this porcelain. But can you answer that quickly, and then we're going to have to move on.
Yes, it's just a Con 10 for firing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I use different kind of porcelain, but then I can explain everything because I will public on my website or other media. So now I can show my Westlight, my opera. So now is the particular moment to introduce my artwork selected for the 61st Faenza Prize.
I'm going to give you less than a minute to do this now, so we can.
Thank you to all judges for giving me the opportunity to show this important message to all people, because this artwork or project was not an inspiration, but just idea I need. So I don't need to explain what happened, you know, well, in this moment. So this is the Western Light that is a composer from porcelain, is a interactive, is a multimedia. And now I just want to say one thing, and then we start the video, because there is a little delay from voice and interact light, because the camera was 10 meters distance from the vessel. So in the normal way, the voice and light are synchronized. So what I want to do now, just last things, because I would like to hope that give to everybody a message about it, and I would like that you think about it, a deep thinking. So we live in the same planet, and we have to save and rescue all our brothers, son, rescue our father and mother. So thank you. Thank you to Open Arms for collaboration. Now,
the interaction of the light and the sound with the life jacket, and then calling it this vessel light, is really a wonderful message for all of us. Thank you so much, Nicola. We will catch you on your YouTubes for further explanation.
Okay, and now we can see the video. Okay, thank you.
Stay to the life jacket.
Okay.
Be calm. Get to the life jacket. Be calm. Okay, vale. ¿Qué tenemos? ¿Dos? Ok.
Wait. Here. ¿Quieres agua?
Vale, tenemos... No, Libia.
Water.
Ok, chalecos.
No, moment.
Sepárate. No. No te acerques por aquí.
No te acerques.
Stay calm. Es como...
pulling together 21st century technology that is just great. Okay, let's see. Are we live again? Yes, we're live again. Hello. Our next speaker is Tommaso, and your English is so good, I'm going to let you go right into it since we're a little bit over on time. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your being included in the Faenza Prize. Welcome.
Judith, thank you so much for having me here and for allowing me to make a presentation on my work. If we could start from the first slide, I live in London. I've lived in London for more than 25 years, and I am a gallerist as well. I've worked in the gallery world for more than 20 years now. In 2013, I started exhibiting ceramics as well in what is mostly a contemporary art gallery. And I've been particularly drawn towards the world of British studio pottery. By that, we mean a sort of strand of British modern art that begins in the early 20s and that continues until today, of people who work on their own in the studio, making vessels and using the idea of the vessel as a way to sort of as a form of kind of personal creative expression. So I'm just going to show a couple of images of exhibitions that I've done at the gallery, just because this is so much part of who I am. So this was the first ceramics exhibition, including people like Janet Leach and Catherine Playdell-Bouverie, who are the sort of the giants of studio pottery in Britain. Next image, please. No, this is not me. Oh, thank you. This is another show I did at the gallery. This is Julian Stair, and it was a big project of a sort of dining set. Next slide, please.
It's quite a beautiful gallery space.
Thank you. Thank you. This was a group show that was called The Social Life of Things. And basically, I've always been, this is something that has become totally part of my gallery, this idea of mixing ceramics and contemporary art. So in this exhibition, for example, there were works by Alison Britton and Rikrit Tiravanit, amongst others. Next slide, please. This is the most recent show that I've done of ceramics, the first exhibition of Shawanda Corbett, who's an American artist who lives in the UK. And then with the next slide, please, we come to my work. This is one of the first works that I have exhibited, and it was a tea set that was shown in an exhibition at Schwartz Gallery in Berlin in 2015. And this to show that I work on the wheel. I identify with the tradition of and the language and the history of studio pottery, and this is very much at the center of what I do. So all of my work are vessels, but at the same time I try to work in many different styles, because I've been drawn to different techniques, different clays, and I've embraced the diversity and the myriads of opportunities that we are offered today when working with clay in the studio. Next image, please. So this is a series of works that I made a few years ago. They're all heads, and we were talking with Judith earlier, and we were talking about me wearing different hats. So this is quite opposite, this body of work. And in fact, I was very much thinking about identity and how we are defined by what we do, and how we can change our identity and according to circumstances and the moment. So in this case, you have a couple of kings, you have a saint there at the back with a sort of Brian Eno haircut. And in the next slide, please. And here there are more images. And for example, the head at the bottom is wearing a kernos, which is a particular form that was actually worn on the head during the Eleusinian rites in ancient Rome. So I use lots of sort of different references. At the top we see a bishop, and all the bishops in this series are also money boxes, so they have a slot at the back of the head where you can put your coins for safekeeping. Next image, please. This is a group of pots that I made for an exhibition at Camden Art Centre in 2016, and they are called guards. They're all stoneware decorated with porcelain. And again, this work is very much a kind of conflation of different styles, and there are elements that are more narrative, more autobiographical, and others that are more formal. But again, the sort of the common trait is that all of these are vases, are vessels. Next image, please. This is one of them. So I also like to incorporate different materials in my ceramics. So this particular one is decorated with a woolen thread, and it kind of holds it. And I was interested in the handmade quality of the thread itself. Next image, please. This is another one where I use bubble wrap to decorate the pot and porcelain slip. Next image, please. This is work that belongs to a series of the 4 seasons that I'm still working on, actually, that I sort of return to periodically. And in this case, I'm very much interested also in the idea of function and the idea of the everyday object. And my vessels, I think, all have this kind of rather ambiguous status where they could be art and just for display and just for contemplation, but at the same time, they have the potential of being used. So in this case, this is a still life, it's a sculpture, but the bowl contains real grapes. And so the idea is that there is also this kind of slow deterioration and loss of freshness of the grapes. And that was very much part of the work. Next image, please. These are more recent pots that are made in brown stoneware, which is a material I use quite a bit, actually, and decorated again with porcelain slip. Next image, please. Here we come to the work that I made since this never-ending lockdown that we've been in for the past year. This is the first series of works I made during lockdown, and these are all decorated with metallic glazes. And again, I was really interested in exploring sort of different formal devices, these large rings that are actually not resting on the ring holders, but on the pot itself. And again, I used other materials like this string of glass beads to decorate one of the ceramics. Next image, please. These again are works that I made during, well, some of them during lockdown, and I've been really enjoying myself making these vases that are decorated with still lives, because I was really interested in the conflation of an image of a vase on a vase, and the idea of a vase that could contain living flowers that would slowly wilt, while at the same time having an image of flowers that will always remain the same. And again, in this case, I'm using velvet underglazes, which are a kind of a type of decoration that it's mostly identified with hobby pottery. I think they're wonderful, wonderful paints, and the colors are so vivid. They're incredible, and I'm actually very surprised that people don't use them more often because they're extraordinary. Next image, please. This is a work that I was selected for the International Prize, and it's a work that's called We Are Three. And with this work, I was really thinking about the kind of the commemorative value of ceramics, and how ceramics can, by using an evocative form, which in this case, these pots these vessels were inspired by the lutrophoros, which is a Greek ceramic shape. The lutrophoroi were usually, have been found in the graves of young men and women who died before getting married, and there were vases that traditionally were used for the ablutions before the wedding ceremony in ancient Greek. In the ancient Greek world. So they have certain features, which are an elongated neck and two handles. So these are dedicated to 3 victims of crime who died when they were young. Their names are on the back of the pots. And I've exhibited them. If we could move on to the next image, please. So this is the back, and on the back at the bottom, you can see the 3 names. And then to the next one, please. This is the work exhibited in Milan at the ICA in 2019. And in this case, I decided to pair them with an image of the Tetrarchs from the side of the St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. Because there was this sense of strength through unity that I thought was very evocative, and I was thinking of that particular sculpture while making these works. So I thought it was actually interesting to integrate the image itself within the work. And then the next image, please, is the most recent work that I completed. This is a work that was triggered by this latest lockdown, and the sentence that you see that says, "In a dream you saw a way to survive and you were full of joy," is a poem, I would call it, by Jenny Holzer. It's one of her truisms, and it was she first thought of it during the AIDS crisis. I've found myself thinking about the years of the AIDS crisis a lot. That was a different kind of pandemic that affected the artistic community, the creative community, very deeply 20 years ago. And I think it's very interesting to think about that moment now, that we are unfortunately having to think about death and illness so much. So yeah, I mean, this is very much part of my work. You know, my work is very much influenced by thoughts and feelings that I have, but I always try to have this connection to the functional and to objects that exist in everyday life. So in this case, this is a tile that I have since glazed, and that I hope will grace someone's, that will be fixed to someone's wall one day.
Wonderful.
So thank you.
You know, you venerate the history of the vessel in a way that is very poignant, and the vessel being akin to the body and to the person and a personality is a long tradition. And it's wonderful that you're carrying that on. In a day when vessel making isn't as popular as it was, it's wonderful that you're bringing us back to the power of the vessel. So thank you very much. A very thoughtful presentation.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Judith.
Pleasure.
Thank you for your words.
Pleasure. Moving on to our last speaker. And we are just delighted to bring Viktória now into our visual context now. You're living in Hungary.
Originally I'm based in Budapest, but at the moment I'm in France.
Oh, okay. Budapest, a beautiful city. And yes, go ahead.
Nothing. I'm just in France in a ceramic artist in residency program, and I'm working here now.
Wonderful. Well, you also have developed a very interesting technique of working with clay and sort of integrating it with another craft technique. So let's get into the work. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm really pleased to have the possibility to present my work. So in my presentation, I would like to show you chronologically the developments of the technique, which I also used in all of my work, which was selected for the Faenza Prize. In 2015, I started my master studies, where in the first semester, I participated in a course where the aim of the student was to make experiments with concrete and other materials. Before this workshop, I was always magnetized about the question of how I could express and visualize a quality of material, which is opposite to what I used to in my work, actually. I chose a material which gave me the opportunity to create fleeting moments, and my aim was to eternalize and freeze these gestures and moments with the cooperation of concrete. During these few months, my experimental subjects were rope and concrete, so the created objects were made by the symbiosis. As a conclusion of this semester, I could do the next step during my working progress. And next picture, please. Yeah, please. After I finished the first semester at the university, I continued my studies in Halle an der Saale in Germany, where I spent a year in a ceramic class in the fine art department. When I arrived to the new place, I had a strong impulsion about to continue my experiments and reach the next milestone. I changed my previous materials from concrete to porcelain and from rope to thread. Because of the modality of working with these materials, I needed to add one more component, which was wood. Thread and wood were only a half of my work in progress, because during firing, they fired out from my sculptures. During this year in Germany, I tried to do as many experiments as I could to get to know more about the possibilities of the technique. After every firing, I started to have a really important observation, which headed me off to another direction. I recognized that because of the high temperature, my object started to make intense deformations. In the following period, I tried to focus more on this incident in my work. The next, please. The next picture, please. After I turned back to Budapest, I started to work on my degree project. And I wanted to continue to work with this technique. So I changed my working method to a more focused way, in a theoretical and a practical way as well. How you could see it in the previous pictures, I initially used an irregular way of creating structures, which I changed to regularity. I started to search about some kind of ways of patterns which can remind us of viewing, which can evoke the quality of textile. During my research, I used many different kinds of variations, which can also produce several effects in the kiln. And these pieces were my diploma work. For diploma work, I was looking for the answer for the question if porcelain is able to make a transformation which can give the possibility to imitate another medium. Everything that we experience from life creates preconceptions in our mind. My aim is to create without the stereotype of the materials, which can open a different reality for the viewer. My objects have hybrid character because of the ambivalent perception. Simultaneously, they typify both the character of textile and ceramic. Textile anchors you for haptic perception to feel the material. My works make the desire of touching them, but because of the fragility, at the same time, it's also forbidden. In my work, I operate with contrast, which creates a delusion for the viewers. How I talked with about previously, I recognized my works can make deformations in the kiln, which I try to manage consciously. Its mean fortune also became the part of my work in progress. So I considered porcelain as a creative partner, and in this object series, it's really important to talk about that. While I was creating these structures, I used really exact shape like cylinder, and because of the gravitation and the high firing, they deformated after firing. The next, please. And this piece was selected for Faenza Prize from this series. And also in these works, I try to show a kind of analogy about the deformations. The next, please.
I love this process shot. This is wonderful.
Thank you. And in this picture, you can see how I build my sculptures. I would also describe that briefly. I pierce some wood sticks inside of a stoneware slab, which can be fired in the same temperature as porcelain. And afterward, I deep thread into porcelain and then start to build the structures from bottom to top. The next, please. In 2019, I reached the next important milestone in my work. I started to work in shutter object series. In my other work, I use mostly cylinder shapes, and in my new series, I started to use cones, which have an association of nest from the nature. Next, please. Next. These works are kind of ongoing project, which has several directions. I try to do the group of this series consequently, and in this photo you can see the organic direction, which was built by amorph shapes. Next, please. And out of the circular and amorph basements, I created a third group where I worked mostly with geometrical forms, which could be symmetric and asymmetrical as well. And I also, out of the variation of shapes, I also tried to make a different combination with colors. The next, please. Next. And in this photo, you can see the last work, what I did. And in the last few months or year, I mostly focused for black, white, and cobalt blue. And in the future, I would like to slowly work with more colors.
What is the scale of this work? What size is this particular piece?
Like 30 centimeter by 30.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You know, you're blending two ancient crafts, fiber, textile, and clay, into a totally new, wonderful interwoven concept. And to see your work evolve from the one color and now into these different patterns is adding another dimension to what you originally started off with. I also want to congratulate you because you are selected under the 35 group. And how do you feel about being in the Faenza show as an under 35 person? What's the perspective that you have?
I feel really, really grateful, and it's for me it's very good, nice background or a judge to continue this work what I do. Yeah, I'm really grateful for it.
Well, we're very grateful that you are continuing your research and your studies, and if this is the beginning of a career, you have a big future ahead of you.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. This has been a very interesting, passionate exploration of new uses of the material, sustainability concepts, and certainly focusing on the world that we're currently in the pandemic. You know, the trace memory of Antonella's pieces coming from different museums, the heartfelt vessel that Nicola is getting us into with the immigrants and with people moving in the vessel. All of you have been really fantastic. I know we are out of time. I'm sorry we don't have time. Is that right, Claudia, for any discussion?
No, time is always elapsing. So when we are getting into interesting arguments, time is going, and so we have to return to our position. So many compliments from the chat to everybody. And I can say that, Judith, your choice was good to put together different arguments from tradition to technology to actuality and interaction, of course. So it was a great selection of artists, and I think that this conversation was very, very good for and very with good inspiration also for the future of ceramics. So many congratulations from the chat, and you can see them in the registration, because as you know, this conversation will stay on our YouTube channel, and you can join it whenever you want, so the other conversation of the previous weeks. And I have to announce the next one, which will be next week, of course. We will have the pleasure to have again Ran Titian together with us, talking with Tetsuya Tanaka, Lena Kapke, Cristina Ruta, and Zubini. So it will be another selection of great artists, and it will be a great pleasure to have them again on this screen. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for this possibility of showing your work, and to this beautiful community of artists, which is getting increasing in numbers each week, and so we are very happy that these talks have a good success, and it was a good alternative to an exhibition. We know that it was not possible, so we have this, and we have to use technology for sharing our works and our activities. So thank you very much, everybody, and stay tuned next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.